Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 on Netflix. And I really enjoyed this one. Now, it did take me a while, and I was kind of fucking confused when I started this, but I really got into it of what was going on, and I just have to say, the animation this season was fucking amazing. The fight scenes, especially when we get into the Shibuya incident arc of this season, a lot of it was pretty much like anime movie quality, and I was just like blown away. I really liked it. Like there was a fluidity to certain kind of stuff, and almost like it. You'd almost say that it wasn't as detailed, but it still had amazing detail of what was kind of going on the characters, versus kind of seeing the like whole kind of devastation and destruction that was kind of being wrought there. So the weird thing is, I started this season. I'm like, why the fuck is Gojo in high school? And with Geto, what the fuck's kind of going on here? So the first one is like hidden inventory, premature death. As we see, we're in 2006 instead of 2018, and we see young Gojo and Geto as they're pretty much like going. Rah, 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 rah. It's like, okay, so this was their relationship before we see everything kind of going a little bit nutty in like Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, and it's like, all right, cool. And we see how Geto kind of gets into that kind of mindset of like kill all humans kind of shit. Well, non sorcerers. However, it is also kind of different as we learn different kind of like more about who is the 2018 one that we see doing their kind of stuff. So they pretty much are like assigned to protect this vessel. For the star plasma vessel every like 500 years to prevent Tengen from evolving beyond humanity. It's like, okay, it's doing these kind of barriers and shit and everything, and if it doesn't get like a new kind of meat suit, it kind of goes beyond humanity. Okay, has this happened before? Because it sounds like a kind of thing that would be kind of harder to kind of deal with if it fucking actually did that. And we've got people that are trying to get this to happen, so they pretty much started like sending assassins and bounties after her to kind of get this going. Let's see. Toji Zenin is actually kind of going after that as well. The Time Vessel Association, yeah. And also Q members are like doing. There's two kind of ones that are kind of going on. Let me see here. The Cursed Sect Q and the Time Vessel Association, which reveres Tengen and opposes the merger, believing it would corrupt his purity. We also get Toji Zenin kind of popping up, who is this person that really doesn't use cursed energy and is like a fucking physical badass, kind of giving me Rock Lee vibes. Now, I've watched a little bit of Naruto, not a lot of Naruto, and I'm wearing this because there's a nice Spirit Gun reference in here with Geto as well, where I'm like, yeah, always down for some Yu Yu Hakusho love and everything, and you get that throughout this series. But it's doing its own thing. I mean, yes, it's got reverse Kakashi, where instead of the mask being on the bottom, it's on the top. But he doesn't really. I mean, yes, he teaches people about stuff, but he's got a big ass stick up his ass, like, I'm the strongest, I'm gonna do some shit, motherfucker. And it leads to like vast arrogance, where Kakashi more kind of views himself on kind of the back foot on certain kind of shit, even though he's like, alright, I'm not as strong as these motherfuckers, but I'm gonna do some shit, motherfucker. Where that's already got a different kind of dynamic. I do like them delving more into Yuji and Sukuna's kind of stuff, especially when we get into the Shibuya incident. But we see them kind of set up, trying to kind of like fight off these members and everything, and trying to give, let me see, Riko, like her own kind of good days, like her one, nanny watcher over gets like kidnapped, and they kind of like go to Osaka and have a good little time, and then they pretty much try and get her back to Tengen and everything. She says goodbye to her friends and all that kind of stuff. Goodbye to her protector, her bodyguard, and everything before getting there. But we see that Geto gives her the choice, and she's deciding not to. But Toji has made it past all this kind of stuff and kills her. And then, of course, we get this big fight scene that is fucking gnarly as we see Geto bringing up all this kind of stuff, and we see him kind of degrading throughout here, being talking about eating shit and everything, and why is he protecting all these people, and cursed energies coming from humans. But we also see him talking with this other chick. It's like, all right, Either get rid of the humans or teach them to control their cursed energy and stop these curses and everything from happening. And of course, we see that he's wrestling with it. However, Rico's kind of bit pushes him over the edge where he thinks of them as monkeys and goes forward more with his plan of dominating, since sorcerers are able to control their cursed energy, to go that kind of route. And we see him pretty much fighting Toji. Yeah, but he is not able to take his ass out. Toji actually beats the fucking shit out of Gojo, and you think he's kind of dead, but that's not exactly what happens. Let me see here. We see that they got Rico's body at the Time Vessel Association. They're like, oh, yay, we're pretty much dead. Not dead, but like, we've achieved our goal and stuff like that. And Gato's just like, that's where he kind of really fucking snaps it. It's like, that's not good there. Let's see. And the bodyguard is killed. And the thing is, Gojo was actually able to activate his reverse curse technique for the first time to heal himself, utilizing his limitless purple, hollow purple, which obliterates the left side of Toji's body when he like pops up like, I'm bitching now, motherfucker, because he'd pretty much been put on such high alert that he let down his guard for a second. He was stabbed through by Toji, and that instigates the whole kind of like fighting off as they're trying to get Rico down to Tengen, and he just pops up and pretty much destroys the fucking shit out of Toji, telling him about his son Megumi, who is going under his like wife's name. We see that the rift kind of has grown between Gojo as a year later. Gojo is pretty much going on his solo missions, Geto being increasingly isolated, and of course getting the letter like that, and Gojo finding Megumi as 6-year-old and protecting him and everything before we get to the Shibuya incident. Let's see. So then, because I was just kind of confused of how he started this. I didn't think this was bad. I was just like, where the fuck's Yuji and the rest of these people? What's kind of going on with this? It does become important later on. And even though at first I was like, what the fuck? I think this was better than utilizing flashback sequences, even though you'd be like, this whole arc's a flashback. It's like, yes, but it's not being interspersed throughout the season, and then instead being like, this is important information, and this is going to help you as we see later on what's going on here, why they would have to get Gojo out of play, and who the fuck this person is that's in Geto's body. It's like, okay. So we're seeing that Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi are being partnered up with certain kind of ones. We see Meimei and Todo being like, all right, they're recommended. And also Maki and Panda for grade 1 sorcerers. We get a nice cute little thing where Yuji wants to go see this movie and everything. And then Nobara gets accosted by this chick that actually liked Yuji in high school. And that she's lost a lot of weight and everything, but he kind of went to bat for her and it's like, and kind of helped her out. And well, people were like asking who Yuji was kind of into. He's like, I'm more into someone that's actually nice and not an asshole kind of bit. And she wanted to like confess to him, but she didn't. But she was able to ask him to take a picture with her, and that was a kind of cute thing as they're kind of talking and everything like that. And he doesn't recognize her completely off the bat, but it was a nice little kind of normal kind of thing before everything goes to complete shit. Let's see. Because we got that kind of going on. There's a trader at Jujutsu High, and then Mekamaru gets kind of fucked up because he has to fight Mahito and Gato. As things are kind of going. Well, see, the thing is, I'm saying Gato, but it's not Gato. It's this other kind of dude. We don't know that at this point, but we see this definitely has Evangelion vibes, and this was a kind of nutty one. Seeing him utilizing his technique to almost take out Mahito. He's not a fucking drink. Mahito. Mojito. Pardon me. It just gets a little bit nutty, and I get a little bit ahead of myself. But we see that Mechamaru pretty much gets his ass, he gets killed, but he's able to have like contingency plans of what's kind of going on. And this is showing them kind of utilizing domains in different kind of ways for what's kind of going on. But then we see that they decide to do Shibuya at Halloween with like Beals going up, and of course Gojo's kind of called in. We get certain ones that are keeping people in, keeping sorcerers out, and keeping people in, as we see that they're able to kind of get through and get into the Shibuya Underground, where Geto is pretty much fighting the cursed spirits and the thing that's inhabiting Geto's body, and that he pretty much prepares this kind of prison thing kind of going on. We see that Yuji is paired up with Mei Mei and her sibling, her little brother, Wee Wee. Oh god, their dynamic is interesting in that like he fawns over her, but their powers actually work pretty well together. He's able to like teleport and do shit, and that mainly it's regarded when he's able to be like, yeah, I'll die for you, kind of shit. It's like interesting because Mei Mei is kind of close to Toji, that she's more of a physical kind of bruiser, even though she can utilize her cursed energy for stuff with crows, which she uses to good effect in defeating the smallpox deity that Geto pretty much puts in her way. Yuji pretty much gets put through the ringer through this whole thing, taking out people that Mahito has pretty much transformed before getting pretty much into linking up with Megumi, talking about him getting Geto being sealed, Nanami popping up to kind of deal with this and try and deal with the escalating situation as they're trying to take out the people that have erected the veils. Nanami cracking this motherfucker who's taking out the suits that are pretty much trying to facilitate communication, because they can go through and get through the veils in most kind of instances. But this dude's like on, he's mainly there to be pretty much like a little bit of a nuisance and for Nanami to beat the fucking shit out of him. And then also be scared of like Sukuna doing crazy ass shit. So they're pretty much going through and trying to stop as many people as possible while getting down. But of course, he gets sealed. Geto's body's pretty much watching over him as the rest of the cursed spirits are pretty much put into effect. Hanami is killed. That cursed spirit. Let's see. Jogo? We also see Geto having to deal with like pseudo Geto like fighting his body. It's like his body fighting the dude, be like, oh shit. So that was interesting to see that kind of going on. Let's see, investigating the veil. Now, it's important to have this whole kind of effect of Gojo being in this kind of prison realm, because it allows the cursed spirits. He's been pretty much the nuclear deterrent that's been keeping people off, because, yeah, she could be like, oh, fuck, this really annoys me that Gojo is like the bestest one ever. However, he has pretty much been the power dynamic keeping most cursed spirits in play, in check, and keeping them out of play. Now it's like, I can come in and do whatever the fuck I want. Even seeing also the other cursed spirits trying to kind of like get into Sukuna to essentially reverse the dynamic, where we got this super powerful cursed spirit motherfucker doing the shit and letting us do whatever the fuck we want kind of shit. It's like, And the thing is, we don't know exactly what the objectives are of... What is his name? Let me go down a little bit. Nope, that's recap. Nope. It just comes... No, it's... Kenku? Kenkao? Kenjaku. Come on, Wikipedia. Why the fuck don't you have that kind of shit? As we see him, like, opening his fucking... And we see this, like, weird little brain fucking thing kind of going. I was like, what the fuck are you, asshole? It's like, your worst nightmare, butthorn. It's like... More like about other nightmares, but fuck you, buddy. But Yuji's kind of getting further and further down into what's kind of going on, and we see that he fights this one dude who he has a really good fight scene with this guy that's pretty much utilizing this blood-based kind of curse technique. he of course had fought his brothers and everything, and then it gets a little bit weird as the dude's about to deliver a killing blow to Yuji, but then sees memories of him being related to Yuji. So then we get the kind of brother dynamic with him and Toto being like, yes, we're brothers kind of shit. And like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? I think we get more of a kind of explanation afterwards, but it's not really popped up in this season. As we get these two girls that were pretty much fangirling over Gato being like, give us the fucking body back. And the brain's like, eat my ass. Not exactly, but like, fuck you. And they're like, get your ass back. And they're just like getting Yuji and shoving fingers Sukuna's fingers in him, and then Jogo, the fire dude's like, fuck this, and then just pumps it to the equivalency of like 15 fingers, so he's like 5 up. So Sukuna takes over and unleashes Unholy Hell and is like an asshole. We do see Megumi utilizing this crazy ass kind of Shinigami. He pretty much was utilizing it against the stabby McFuck to pretty much like stop his ass. But Sukuna pretty much like takes out and kills Jogo, and then fights Mahoraga, the most powerful Shikigami of the 10 Shadows technique, and nobody is successfully subjugated. Sukuna's Jogo fight, fuck me, was pretty good and intense, showcasing what was kind of going on. It was kind of nice seeing him reunited with his like departed friends as well, because we also saw that they were pretty much that Nanami, Maki, and Megumi had to kind of like take on this one thing, and one person was channeling Toji, and the dude's spirit was strong enough that he took over the fucking body. That was kind of crazy seeing Megumi have to deal with that whole kind of thing. Before the dude kind of wakes up and like, what's your last name? Bushigoro? It's like, oh, at least you didn't take Zen. And then taps his own ass. Because they had to deal with this, like, Dagon dude. And they're like, get out, and they're all lit on fire. But, like, Nanami is still alive, and so is Maki. Old man dude, I think, is dead, but I'm not sure. But Nanami pretty much is fighting and showcasing the kind of futility before Mahito kills him. Yuji does get woken up and is, like, fucking seeing him break, and Sukuna being a complete asshole, be like, remember this, savor this, as he's like, I'm a murderer. I'm like, no, dude, you're trying to hold this fucker in. You got fucked up. The dude took over. He did that shit. You wouldn't do this. And just seeing him just like, then get snapped out of it by Nanami, then being killed by Mahito, and then fighting him as Nobara is fighting the kind of double that Mahito was pretty much sent out because he wanted to kill Yuji as well. And her kind of dealing with it was pretty nice, but then she kind of gets killed as well, or at least severely injured because he like touches her and her eye like blows up or something like that, and then she kind of like falls to the ground and is like, oh shit. So we get Yuji, and then Tojo and the rest kind of like pop up to save his ass, and we get them fighting. This was gnarly. Mahito being like, we're opposites and everything like that. This war between like cursed spirits and sorcerers and all that kind of shit. Let me see. Yeah. We also get them kind of going more into Nobara's kind of backstory, and even seeing this kind of person that she looked up to, what she's kind of doing now, in like an office setting, is like, huh, kind of interesting there. And saying that she might slimly survive because the Kyoto students have popped up to provide backup. And we see Tojo utilizing his Boogie Woogie. I think it's Boogie Woogie. As he's like teleporting throughout. And that was actually pretty effective and probably hard to do for the animators because you're like shifting them and flipping them back and forth. So very good job on that kind of shit. As we see that he pretty much awakens to like his full curse power. And because Yuji's been landing black flashes like ain't nobody's business to strike his soul. His ultimate form, the instant spirit body of distorted killing. But Toto is tricking him to believe he can still use his curse technique, allowing Yuji to land his last kind of like black flash, and it kind of like fucks him up. But of course, we get Kenjaku pretty much popping up and being like, ha! And then pretty much absorbs him and utilizes him in this Uzumaki technique kind of thing, which was like, what the fuck, man? Pretty much using Geto's body and powers to kind of do that kind of shit. It's like, oh god, I just needed you awakened, motherfucker. And then it just fucking eats Mahito like, motherfuck. Let's see. And Chozo realizes that Yuji is his younger brother. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? Yuki. That's the woman that was in the beginning and also kind of pops up here. So they're pretty much their current ideologies, with the former believing in advancing human evolution by eliminating cursed energy, while the latter believes in refining and maximizing its use. Kenjaku doing that, Yuki being like, get rid of cursed energy. Let's see. And Yuka Okatsu has been appointed Yuji's executioner and helping people out. But the thing is, Kenjaku pretty much unleashes all this kind of shit, and there's like cursed energy and everything, and spirits kind of popping up everywhere. We see this girl pretty much rescued by Yuta. Rika pretty much wrecking the fucking shit out of that cursed spirit, and we see Yuji pretty much being trying to utilize Toto's kind of thing, because he lost a hand, and his one other hand was like beat the fucking shit. It's like, yeah, damn, what's gonna go on here? As our situation is pretty much dire levels where people are like, okay. We see it kind of laying out of what the kind of world powers would do. So Japan's in a pretty gnarly kind of state. It's kind of similar to My Hero Academia, where like all the villains were kind of unleashed, just like, okay. But I'm not going to pretty much go and say that it's just copying each other or whatnot. It's like, okay, this is a different kind of scenario. What's going on? There aren't as many sorcerers as there were heroes, and what's kind of going on with that effect. So I'm still intrigued to see what's going on here, especially Yuji, of what he's able to do and how to handle Sukuna. Netflix is going to be getting the Culling Games one, and I will, at least the first part. I still need to do the second part, but I'm looking forward to season 3 when it pops up. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on, and that's going to be next week. So, yay! I liked it, and I liked seeing Yuji having to deal with this, even though this very much had the kind of feeling of Peter Parker, like, I'm gonna shit on you, motherfucker, with the Parker luck, and just kind of, like, beat the unholy fucking shit out of him, almost taking down Megumi, Nabara almost being killed, Gojo being locked away, all of the murders that Sukuna has done, and not being able to kind of stop them, and we'll have to see how Yuji kind of takes that on. Hopefully he doesn't harden himself, and instead kind of looks as much positive as possible to try and stop these motherfuckers. We still don't know exactly the complete level and plans that Kenjaku's going on, because the last episode mainly dealt with the kind of fallout of everything that's gone on with the Shibuya incident. I've seen it kind of go on the degradation of pretty much the government response, because even though these fuckers know about kind of cursed spirits and cursed energy, they haven't done anything to have any kind of response for, oh fuck, they out there and they're doing crazy ass shit. I understand there could be potentially a negative feedback loop, but you gotta tell people what to do. You gotta give them the information, tell them what would be the best course of action, and see what's kind of going on, instead of just being like, just kind of evacuate just because we say so kind of shit. It's like, sure, but I mean, what am I evacuating from? Is something going to explode? Will some lettuce give me explosive butt COVID? And diarrhea, and destruction, and all kind of mayhem? What is occurring? Do I have to worry about consuming something? Do I have to worry about being consumed by something? Like the little girl pretty much almost being consumed by an angler fucking fish with a like, it's like, well, fuck you. And then being like, Gojo and Geto were accomplices and are pretty much on death. That's like, the heads of the sorcerers are fucking idiots. I mean, it's not much different than most stuff nowadays, but it's like, these people are the ones responsible. It's like, no. News at 11. Fuck, man. Like, they pretty much put all this shit on this, and then they just told Yuta to fucking kill Yuji. I'm like, alright, maybe there's probably other easier ways to deal with Sukuna. I mean, I know they're pretty much gonna just, like, force feed the shit to him and fucking kill his ass to pretty much get rid of Sukuna, but could there be other ways to kind of deal with this? So we'll see what kind of goes on with that. I liked... It was mainly the beginning that kind of threw me, but as I'm talking about it more, I kind of like what they did with the beginning, so that way we didn't have complete kind of flashbacks that would have been needed, even though we did have flashbacks of certain kind of stuff, mainly in Nabara's case, but I would say that that's more justified because she was pretty much in a position of dying and having her life flash before her eyes. So I'll accept that kind of stuff. That kind of shit of her reminiscing about her friends and the connections that she made in her town. So, yeah. I would still recommend this season if you were really into the first one and into the movie. And I'm just into it, man. I mean, animation is great. Like, I never had any kind of a moment where I was like, no, this isn't good. This doesn't work out well. And it does really kind of cracks onto it of understanding the serious moments and the silly moments that they're able to do. This one doesn't have a lot of silly moments, but sometimes you've got the little kind of chibi stuff that like pops up sporadically, but it has the good intended effect when it pops up and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cute. And it's never really done to belittle any of the kind of serious moments, like when certain kind of characters die, or like Jogo is like talking with the ones that have already passed on and reminiscing with them, with Sukuna being like, yeah, you're strong, man. It's like, shit. And props to someone. All right. So I would recommend that for if you're definitely like, even if you're not really into this kind of series, if you're into action and just want to see amazing kind of fight sequences and how well they're animated, that I would just recommend this for it alone, where it's just like, holy fucking shit, level of fucking shit that I'm like looking forward to when I finally get to One Piece with certain kind of stuff. I've heard nothing on like the next collections, and the thing is, of course, Sony and Crunchyroll, I'll have to do with stuff with that. I mean, Netflix is taking its time. It's pretty much getting all the stuff with Whole Cake Island. It'll probably take a while for it to catch up to where I'm at for Wano. So we'll see about that. I know that's kind of weird to kind of link that up, but it's like, yeah, more like when you're trying to do, like this action is just bomb. And being someone that's into the story and the characters as well, it very heavily complements it and works out well enough where I'm like, I got the complete package here. But if you're someone who's just like, I want to see a motherfucker punch, just right here, baby, just look at all that kind of shit. Just like, it was just on a level that I did not fucking expect. And I'm like, this is like the movie level kind of stuff. Are you guys okay? Are you okay? And I hope that quality continues for the next season, because there's some where you had really good quality animation, and then you got One Punch Man. It's like, you're just like, what happened? Are you guys okay? What the fuck? So those are my opinions on the season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.